The wheelchair-bound judge tries to climb the staircase and can't until a single father carries her. Jennifer Morrison took a deep breath as she saw the 20 marble steps ahead of her. Once again, the elevator was broken, and her hearing would start in 15 minutes. The wheels of her chair slipped on the polished marble every time she tried to climb. It was then that she noticed a man watching her struggle. He seemed to be waiting for something, holding the hand of a child who was gently rocking his body from side to side. "Excuse me, Your Honor, can I help?" offered the man, approaching. "I don't need help," Jennifer replied curtly, trying once more to push the chair. "I can do it myself." "I'm sure you can, but you're running late and the elevator won't be back anytime soon," he said, in a respectful but firm tone. Jennifer stopped and looked at him more closely. He must have been in his early 30s, wearing a simple blue shirt and jeans. The boy beside him kept rocking, avoiding eye contact. "You don't know me," she murmured. "I know you're the judge. My name is Daniel Carter. I have a hearing with you today about the custody of my son." Jennifer felt her stomach tighten. This could compromise everything. One of the parties couldn't help the judge before a hearing. "Mr. Carter, this is not appropriate. You are an interested party in the case," she said, trying to sound professional despite the awkward situation. "Ethan, stay here for a minute," Daniel said to the boy, who nodded without stopping his rocking. Before Jennifer could protest again, Daniel picked her up in his arms with ease. She tensed, her hands instinctively resting on his shoulders. "I protest this," she murmured, but had no choice but to accept. "I know," he replied, climbing the steps with steady strides. "But you have an important hearing, and I'm not going to let you be late because of a broken elevator." Jennifer felt his gentle soap scent, the warmth of his body close, the strength of his arms carrying her effortlessly. It had been 3 years since anyone had held her like that, since the accident. When they reached the top, Daniel gently placed her back in the chair. Jennifer adjusted her black robe and tried to regain her composure. "Thank you," she said, avoiding looking at him. "Ethan, come." The boy ran up the steps, still rocking. When he got close to Jennifer, he stopped and looked directly into her eyes for a second before lowering his head again. "Hi," said Ethan in a soft voice. Jennifer felt something strange in her chest. She didn't expect him to speak to her. "Hello, Ethan," she replied, surprised at the softness in her own voice. "Ethan, let's go to the waiting room," said Daniel, gently touching the boy's shoulder. Jennifer watched them walk away down the hall. Ethan walked with his own rhythm, occasionally stopping to touch the wall or observe some detail that only he noticed. She headed to her chambers, but couldn't get the feeling of Daniel's arms around her out of her mind. It had been humiliating to need help, especially from someone she would be judging in a few minutes, but it had also been comforting. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out, now continuing. 2 hours later, Jennifer was in her chambers reviewing the case Carter versus Carter. Daniel's ex-mother-in-law was seeking custody of Ethan, claiming a single father was not equipped to care for a child with autism. There was a knock at the door. "Come in," said Jennifer. It was Barbara, her assistant of 5 years. "Your Honor, people are talking downstairs," said Barbara, closing the door behind her. "Talking about what?" That Carter carried you in his arms on the staircase. Some are saying it could compromise the hearing." Jennifer sighed. It was exactly what she feared. "And what else are they saying?" "That it was nice to see. That it had been a while since someone helped the lady like that," Barbara said carefully. "Doctor, are you sure you want to judge this case? I can transfer it to another judge." "No," Jennifer answered firmly. "I will judge it. Just because I needed help doesn't mean I can't be impartial." "Of course not. I'm just worried about gossip, that's all." Jennifer nodded. Barbara had always protected her since the accident. She was one of the few people who treated her normally. The hearing was scheduled for the next day. Jennifer spent the rest of the afternoon studying the case. Daniel Carter, 32 years old, physical therapist. Lost his wife in childbirth 8 years ago. Had raised Ethan alone since then. The child was diagnosed with autism at age 3. Dorothy Carter, Ethan's paternal grandmother, claimed that Daniel did not have the emotional or financial stability to care for a special needs child. She was seeking full custody of her grandson. Jennifer read Ethan's medical reports. Moderate autism, communication difficulties, repetitive behaviors, but intelligence within the normal range. Daniel had taken the boy to all the specialists, therapies, special schools. The father's care was evident. Why then did the grandmother think she could do better? The next day, Jennifer arrived early at the courthouse. The elevator was working, but she preferred to use the side ramp that had been installed recently. It was longer, but at least she didn't depend on anyone. The hearing began promptly. Jennifer watched the parties arrive. Daniel wore a dark suit, was nervous but composed. Ethan wore a light blue t-shirt and stood beside his father, gently rocking back and forth. Dorothy Carter was a grey-haired lady, well-dressed, accompanied by a lawyer Jennifer recognized as expensive and competent. "Your Honor," the grandmother's lawyer began, "my client does not question the father's love for the boy. But love is not enough to raise a child with special needs." "Go on," said Jennifer. "Mr. Carter is single, works all day, has no family support. My client has the stability, time, and experience to offer what Ethan needs." Jennifer took notes and looked at Daniel. "Mr. Carter, what do you have to say?" Daniel stood up, clearly nervous. "Doctor, I know I'm not perfect. I know I make mistakes, but Ethan is my life. He's all I have left of my wife. He needs me as much as I need him." "Daddy," Ethan said softly, touching his father's hand. Jennifer observed the interaction. The boy seemed calm around Daniel, confident. "Mrs. Dorothy, please," said Jennifer. The grandmother stood up, very serious. "Your Honor, I raised 4 children. I know what a child needs. I know. Ethan is alone for many hours, doesn't have a proper routine, doesn't get the attention he deserves." "That's not true," Daniel murmured. "Mr. Carter, please wait your turn." Jennifer gently interrupted him. "Excuse me, Your Honor," Ethan suddenly spoke, standing up. Everyone was surprised. The boy rarely initiated conversations. "Yes, Ethan? Can I speak?" Jennifer looked at the lawyers, then at Daniel, who nodded. "Of course, you may speak." Ethan walked to the front of the table and stopped a few meters from Jennifer. He looked directly at her, a rare thing for him. "Daddy makes pancakes on Sunday. Grandma doesn't let me choose the music. Daddy lets me." The words were simple, but loaded with meaning. Jennifer felt a tightness in her chest. "Thank you, Ethan. You may return to your place." The boy nodded and went back near his father. Jennifer called for a recess to review the documents. In the hallway, she found Daniel waiting while Ethan played with a Rubik's Cube. "Mr. Carter," she said. "Doctor, would you like to talk in private? Ethan can stay with my assistant." "Of course." They went into a private room. Jennifer watched Daniel settle in, visibly tense. "Tell me about Ethan. What does he like to do?" Daniel relaxed a little. "He loves music, has an incredible memory for melodies. He likes putting together puzzles, watching clouds. He's very affectionate. He just takes a while to trust people." "And the difficulties?" "There are hard days. When there's too much change in the routine, he gets agitated. It takes him time to accept new people. But he's a sweet, intelligent boy." "His mother? Can you tell me about her?" Daniel took a deep breath. "Rachel was a nurse. She always wanted to be a mother. When we found out Ethan had autism, she researched everything, prepared herself to help him. She said our son would be special in every way." His voice faltered a bit. "She passed away during Ethan's birth. Complications no one expected. I promised her I would take good care of him." Jennifer felt a lump in her throat. She knew the pain of loss well, the promises we make in desperate moments. "And the grandmother? Why does she want custody?" Dorothy always thought Rachel spoiled Ethan too much. When Ethan was diagnosed, she blamed Rachel for not having done enough tests. After the passing, she said I was too young, too inexperienced. "But it's been 8 years of you caring for him." "Yes, and they've been the best years of my life, even with all the difficulties." Jennifer nodded. There was sincerity in his voice, genuine love. "May I ask a personal question?" "Of course." Why did you help me on the stairs? You knew I would be judging your case, Daniel thought before answering. Because it was the right thing to do. You needed help. It didn't matter who you were, even knowing it could hurt your case. Ethan has taught me that some things are more important than our own needs. Helping someone in trouble is one of them. Jennifer looked at him for a long moment. She rarely encountered that kind of genuine simplicity. Let's go back. The hearing continued for another hour. Jennifer heard witnesses, analyzed medical reports, observed Ethan's interactions with both parties. The boy was visibly more at ease with his father. I declare the hearing adjourned. I will give my decision in 48 hours, said Jennifer. When everyone had left, she stayed alone in her chambers thinking. The case seemed clear technically. Daniel was a good father. But something bothered her. Perhaps the fact that he had helped her. Perhaps her own feelings were compromising her judgment. That night at home, Jennifer had trouble sleeping. She kept thinking about Ethan, the way he had looked directly at her, something rare for a child with autism. She thought about Daniel, the firmness of his arms, the sincerity of his words. For 3 years, since the accident that had changed her life forever, Jennifer had closed herself off emotionally. She avoided personal contact, kept her distance from everyone. It was safer that way. The accident had happened on a rainy night, as she was returning from work. A drunk driver hit her car at an absurd speed. She woke up in the hospital unable to feel her legs. Her life from before had ended in that moment. But yesterday, in Daniel's arms for a few minutes, she had felt like a woman again. Not just a judge in a wheelchair, but a woman. And that frightened her. The next day, Jennifer arrived at the courthouse determined to give her ruling. She had analyzed all the variables, consulted precedents, considered the child's best interest. Barbara brought coffee and stayed in the chambers organizing papers. Doctor, may I say something? Of course. Yesterday, when the hearing ended, I saw the boy Ethan waiting in the hallway. He asked if he could speak with you. Jennifer looked up from the papers. What did he want? He said he wanted to thank you for listening to him, that no one had ever asked him what he thought. Jennifer felt a tightness in her chest again. Ethan had touched on something she didn't know still existed within her. And what did you answer? That you were busy, but that you'd be happy to know he enjoyed participating. Next time, you can bring him. It's not a problem. Barbara smiled. Of course, Doctor. At 2 in the afternoon, Jennifer convened the parties for the reading of the judgment. Everyone was present, including Ethan, who was gently rocking beside his father. After carefully analyzing all the evidence, Jennifer began, considering the child's best interest, I declare that custody of Ethan Carter remains with his father, Daniel Carter. Daniel closed his eyes, clearly relieved. Ethan looked at his father and smiled. However, Jennifer continued, I order that a visitation schedule be established for the grandmother, Mrs. Dorothy Carter, in order to maintain the child's family bonds. Dorothy nodded, seeming more resigned than angry. Furthermore, I recommend family psychological counseling to facilitate communication among all involved parties. The hearing was adjourned. As everyone was leaving, Ethan approached Jennifer's desk. Thank you, he said, glancing quickly at her before looking down. You're welcome, Ethan. Take good care of your father. He takes good care of me, the boy replied simply. Daniel approached. Doctor, I don't know how to thank you. No need to thank me. Just keep being a good father. I always will be. Jennifer watched them leave together, Ethan holding his father's hand. She felt a strange melancholy, as if she were losing something she had never had. In the following weeks, Jennifer tried to return to her normal routine, but she found that thinking about Daniel and Ethan had become a habit. She wondered how they were, if Ethan was doing well in school, if Daniel had managed to sort out the practical matters of life with a special child. A month later, on a Thursday afternoon, Barbara entered the office with a strange expression. Doctor, there's someone here who would like to speak with you. Do they have an appointment? It's not a professional matter. It's personal. Jennifer raised an eyebrow. She rarely received personal visits at work. "Who is it?" "Mr. Daniel Carter. He said he brought Ethan to thank you for the decision, but I think there's something more." Jennifer felt her heart speed up inexplicably. "Send them in." Daniel appeared in the doorway, followed by Ethan, who was wearing a t-shirt with geometric patterns. "Good afternoon, Doctor. Sorry to bother you without notice." "It's no problem. Have a seat." Ethan settled into a chair and pulled a folded paper from his pocket. "I made a drawing," he said, handing the paper to Jennifer. It was a colorful drawing showing 3 figures, a tall man, a small boy, and a seated woman. At the bottom, written in unsteady letters, was "Friends." "It's beautiful, Ethan. Thank you." "It's the 3 of us," he explained. Jennifer looked at Daniel, who seemed a bit embarrassed. "Doctor, I actually came here for another reason," he said. "I know it might seem strange, but I'd like to invite you for coffee. As a thank you." "Mr. Carter—" "Daniel. Please, you can call me Daniel." "Daniel, that's not necessary. I just did my job." "I know that, but Ethan has been talking about you a lot. And well, I've been thinking too." Jennifer felt warmth rise to her cheeks. It had been years since she'd been flustered like this. Thinking about what? About how important it was to find someone who really listened to Ethan, who treated him like a normal child, not just a diagnosis. Ethan was playing with a small, colorful cube, oblivious to the adults' conversation. "Any judge would have done the same," said Jennifer. "No, they wouldn't have. You were special with him, and with me, too." Jennifer didn't know what to say. She wasn't used to this kind of conversation. "Coffee would be nice," she finally said. Daniel smiled. "How about Saturday afternoon? I know a coffee shop that's quiet for Ethan." "Okay." When they left, Jennifer kept looking at Ethan's drawing. 3 friends. When was the last time someone considered her a friend? Saturday arrived slowly. Jennifer chose a light blue blouse and jeans, something casual but neat. It had been a while since she cared so much about her appearance. The coffee shop was small and cozy, with little wooden tables and plants in the windows. Daniel and Ethan were already waiting when she arrived. "Hi, Jennifer," said Ethan cheerfully. "Daddy let me order hot chocolate." "That's great, Ethan," she smiled. Daniel helped her with the chair at the table, a natural gesture she appreciated. "How was your week?" he asked. "Busy. Lots of cases, lots of hearings. And yours?" Ethan started at a new school, one with a special program for autism. He's loving it. "That's wonderful." Ethan showed Jennifer a book about dinosaurs he had brought. "Did you know the Triceratops didn't fight with T-Rex?" he asked. "I didn't. Tell me." The boy talked excitedly about dinosaurs for 15 minutes. Jennifer listened with genuine attention, asking questions, showing real interest. Daniel watched the interaction fondly. "Ethan, how about playing a little over there in the corner while I talk with Jennifer?" he suggested. "Okay, Daddy." The boy went to a corner of the coffee shop where there were some books and toys. "He really liked you," said Daniel. "I like him too." "He's a special boy. Can I ask a personal question?" Jennifer nodded. "What happened to you? The accident, I mean." Jennifer took a deep breath. She didn't talk about this easily. Car accident 3 years ago, drunk driver, spinal cord injury. That must have been very hard. It was. It changed everything. Career, relationships, how people see me. "And how do you feel now?" "Better than 3 years ago, but still different." Daniel nodded thoughtfully. "Ethan is different too, but different isn't bad. It's just different." Jennifer looked at him with renewed interest. "That's an interesting way to see it. I learned from him. Ethan taught me that everyone has their own way of being normal. You're a very wise father. I don't know about wise, but I try to learn every day." They talked for 2 hours. Jennifer discovered that Daniel worked at a rehabilitation clinic, helping people regain movement after accidents or surgeries. It was ironic that he was a physical therapist. "You work with people like me?" she asked. "Sometimes. Every case is unique. But yes, I work with spinal cord injury rehabilitation." "And what do you think? Can people go back to being normal?" Daniel thought carefully before answering. I think normal is relative. People can go back to having a full, happy, productive life. If that's normal, then yes. A full life like what? Like working, having relationships, loving being loved, starting a family, traveling, dreaming. Jennifer felt something stirring inside her. It had been a long time since she thought about dreams. When the meeting ended, Daniel offered her a ride, but she preferred to go back in her adapted car. Ethan hugged her before leaving, a spontaneous gesture that surprised her. "Can we see each other again?" asked Daniel. "I'd like that." That night, Jennifer kept thinking about the conversation. 3 years ago, when she woke up in the hospital without feeling her legs, she thought her life was over. Little by little, she rebuilt a smaller version of herself. Work, home, routine. Nothing beyond that. But today, talking with Daniel and Ethan, she felt that maybe there could be more. Maybe different didn't mean lesser. The meetings became regular. Saturday afternoons at the coffee shop, sometimes at the park, where Ethan liked to watch the birds. Jennifer discovered she loved listening to the boys' crazy scientific theories and Daniel's stories about the patients at the clinic. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing, 2 months after the first coffee, Daniel made a different invitation. "Jennifer, Ethan has a school presentation on Friday, a play about planets. Would you like to come?" "I'd love to." The school was small and specialized. Jennifer arrived feeling a bit nervous, unsure how she'd be received by the other parents. But Daniel introduced her naturally as our friend Jennifer, and soon she was chatting with other families about the challenges and joys of special needs children. Ethan was on stage playing Saturn, in a costume he had helped make himself. He delivered his lines clearly, occasionally glancing into the audience looking for Jennifer and his dad. After the performance, Ethan ran over to them. "Did you see? I remembered all my lines." "You were perfect, Ethan," said Jennifer, genuinely proud. "Daddy said you were coming. I was happy. I was happy to be here too." In the car on the way home, Jennifer felt part of something she hadn't experienced in years, a family, even if unofficial. "Thank you for including me," she said to Daniel. Ethan asked. "He said he wanted you to see him be an actor." "He's a great actor." "And you're a great friend to him, to both of us." Jennifer felt something shifting between them. The friendship was evolving into something else, but she was afraid to name it. A week later, on a rainy Tuesday, Jennifer got a call from Daniel in the middle of the afternoon. He sounded agitated. "Jennifer, sorry to call you at work, but I need some advice." "What happened?" "It's Ethan. The school called. He had a meltdown today and won't talk to anyone. He's been hiding in the bathroom for 2 hours. "What triggered it?" "A teacher change. His teacher got sick and there's a substitute. You know how he is with changes." Jennifer knew. Ethan needed time to process new things. "Where are you?" "On my way to the school to pick him up." "Can I help?" Sometimes a different voice works. "You'd do that?" "Of course. I'll have my assistant cancel my afternoon appointments." Jennifer arrived at the school 20 minutes later. Daniel was in the hallway talking to the principal. Ethan was still locked in the bathroom. "We tried talking to him, but he only says he wants his dad and Jennifer," said the principal. Jennifer was surprised. Ethan was asking for her too. "Can I try?" she offered. Daniel nodded. Jennifer approached the bathroom door. "Ethan, it's me, Jennifer." Silence for a few seconds. "Jennifer," came the muffled voice. "Yes, I'm here with your dad. Can I come in?" "The door is locked." "Can you open it for me?" They heard the sound of the lock turning. Ethan opened the door slowly, his eyes red from crying. Jennifer held out her arms and he came close, letting her hug him. "What happened, sweetie?" "Teacher Sarah didn't come. There's another lady. She doesn't know about my cube and my spot at the desk." "And that scared you?" Ethan nodded against her shoulder. "Changes are really hard. But you know what I've learned about changes?" "What?" "Sometimes they bring good things we didn't expect." Ethan pulled back to look at her. "Like what?" "Well, when I had my accident, everything changed. At first it was really scary, but if it hadn't happened, maybe I never would have met you and your dad." Ethan thought about that. Were you happy to meet us? Very happy. It was one of the best things that ever happened to me. So the change was good. For me it was, and maybe the new teacher can be nice too if you give her a chance. Ethan nodded slowly. I'll try. But can you stay here today? Jennifer looked at Daniel, who nodded. I can stay until you feel better. Jennifer spent the rest of the afternoon at the school, helping Ethan adjust to the new teacher. She explained to her about the boy's special needs, the importance of routine, and how he communicated. In the afternoon, as they left the school, Ethan held Jennifer's hand on one side and his father's on the other. Thank you, said Daniel. You saved the day. Ethan saved me 3 years ago. I just returned the favor. How so? When he greeted me at the forum, it was the first time in a long time that someone looked at me as a person, not as someone with a disability. It reminded me of who I was before the accident. Daniel stopped walking. Jennifer. What? Would you mind if I kissed you? Jennifer felt her heart race. Ethan let go of their hands and went to play in a nearby fountain, giving them instinctive privacy. Yes. I wouldn't mind. Daniel bent down to the level of her wheelchair and kissed her gently. It was a tender, respectful kiss, full of feelings that had been growing for months. When they parted, Jennifer had tears in her eyes. Why are you crying? He asked, concerned. Because 3 years ago I thought I would never be desired by anyone again, that I would never be seen as a woman again. To me, you've always been a woman, a strong, intelligent, caring woman. Even being who you are. Completely. Ethan came running back to them. Were you kissing? He asked with scientific curiosity. We were, replied Daniel without embarrassment. Does that mean Jennifer is going to live with us? Jennifer and Daniel looked at each other, surprised by the boy's perceptiveness. It means we like her very much and want her to be part of our family, explained Daniel. Cool, said Ethan simply. She can help make pancakes on Sunday. In the following months, Jennifer's relationship with Daniel and Ethan deepened. She began spending weekends at their house, helping with Ethan, cooking together, creating a family routine. Ethan flourished with her presence. He had someone new to share his scientific discoveries, his fears, his joys with. Jennifer discovered she had a natural talent for understanding his special needs. Daniel also changed. He became less overprotective, more willing to accept help, more open to sharing responsibilities. The partnership with Jennifer made him realize that raising Ethan alone had been difficult in ways he hadn't even noticed. Jennifer, in turn, rediscovered parts of herself she thought were lost. The ability to nurture, to be part of a family, to be needed in ways that went beyond work. But not everything was easy. 3 years of emotional isolation didn't disappear overnight. Jennifer still had moments of insecurity, fear of being a burden, questioning whether she deserved that happiness. One night, after a difficult day in court, she expressed these doubts to Daniel. Sometimes I'm afraid I'm being selfish, she said. Selfish how? Ethan needs stability. You need someone who is whole. Jennifer, you are the most whole person I know. But I can't what? Walk. So what? You can love, you can care, you can be a partner, you can be a mother to Ethan. What else matters? What if one day you get tired? What if Ethan needs something I can't give? Daniel held her hands. Ethan taught me something important. Love isn't about physical abilities, it's about being present, understanding, accepting. And you do that better than anyone we know. Really. Ethan asked me to talk to you about something. He wants to start calling you Mom Jennifer, if you'll let him. Jennifer felt tears in her eyes. Really? He said you take care of him like a mother, so you should have the title. That night, when Ethan came home from school, he ran to Jennifer as he always did. Mom Jennifer, he said casually, as if he had always used that name. Jennifer hugged the boy, feeling she was finally complete. 6 months later, Daniel made an official marriage proposal. It was on a Sunday morning, while they were making pancakes together. Ethan helped by measuring ingredients with scientific precision. Jennifer, said Daniel, taking a simple ring from his pocket, will you marry me? With me and with Ethan? With both of you? It's a complete package, joked Ethan. We don't sell separately. Jennifer laughed through her tears. Yes, of course, yes. The wedding was small, in a simple church, with few friends and colleagues. Ethan was the ring-bearer, carrying the rings on a little cushion he had chosen himself. During the ceremony, he stood between Jennifer and Daniel, symbolically uniting the new family. Dorothy, Daniel's former mother-in-law, was also present. In the previous months, she had gradually grown closer, realizing that Jennifer was a positive presence in her grandson's life. Ethan's visits to her house now included Jennifer, and she had learned to respect and even admire the strength of her new daughter-in-law. Married life brought new challenges and joys. Jennifer sold her apartment and moved into Daniel's house, which was adapted for her needs. They bought a bigger car, installed accessibility equipment, and created routines that worked for everyone. Ethan loved having Jennifer living with them. She helped him with homework, listened to his crazy theories about the universe, and taught him about law and justice in a way he could understand. "Mom, Jennifer," he said one night during dinner, "do you think I could be a judge when I grow up?" "Of course, if you want. You would be a very good judge." "Why?" "Because you see things differently, and sometimes different is exactly what people need." 1 year after the wedding, Jennifer faced a professional case that deeply affected her. It was about a drunk driver who had hit a child. During the hearing, she vividly remembered her own accident. At home that night, she told Daniel how the case had affected her. "It was strange. For years I avoided thinking about the man who hit me. But today, seeing this similar case, I felt anger." "It's normal to feel anger," said Daniel. "Am I too biased to judge these cases?" "You've become more empathetic, not biased. There's a difference." Ethan, who was playing on the floor near them, looked up. "Mom, Jennifer, do you want to know what Dad told me about you before you started dating?" "What was it?" "That you were the fairest person he knew, because you understood what it was to suffer, so you wouldn't let other people suffer for no reason." Jennifer looked at Daniel, who confirmed with a nod. "It's true. Your experience made you a better judge, not worse." 2 weeks later, Jennifer made an important decision. She looked for information about the man who had caused her accident. She discovered that he was still driving drunk, that he had been arrested several times, but always managed to escape the consequences due to political influence. She decided to reopen the case, even knowing it could generate controversy. With Daniel's help and Ethan's unconditional support, she began gathering evidence, contacting other victims, and building a solid case. The investigation lasted months. Jennifer discovered that the man had victimized at least 10 people in accidents related to drunk driving. Some families were afraid to speak, others didn't know they could seek justice. Ethan followed everything with scientific interest, asking questions about how the legal system worked, why some people did bad things. "Mom, Jennifer," he asked one night, "why wasn't the man who hurt you punished before?" "Because sometimes the system isn't fair to everyone equally." "But are you going to make him be punished now?" "I'm going to try to bring justice, for me and for other people he hurt." "You're brave." "You and Dad gave me courage." The case gained traction in the local media. Jennifer received veiled threats, pressure from superiors to drop it, criticism that she was motivated by personal revenge. But she also received support from other victims' families, from colleagues who admired her courage, from organizations fighting for safer roads. Daniel was her main support throughout the process. "I'm not afraid," he said one night when Jennifer expressed worry about the threats. "You're doing the right thing. Ethan and I are proud." "And what if this affects my career?" "Then your career didn't deserve you anyway." The trial lasted 3 weeks. Jennifer couldn't preside over the case due to conflict of interest, but she testified as a victim and presented evidence as a citizen. On the day of the sentencing, she, Daniel, and Ethan were in the audience when the judge sentenced the man to 5 years in prison and a permanent revocation of his driver's license. It was a victory not just for Jennifer, but for all victims. Leaving the courthouse, Ethan took Jennifer's hand. "Now he won't hurt anyone else." "Not for a good long time. You saved other people." We saved them, Ethan. You and Dad gave me the strength to fight. That night at home they celebrated as a family. Ethan drew a picture showing Jennifer as a superhero in a wheelchair, saving people. Daniel made her favorite dinner. It was a simple but memorable night. You know what I learned from all this? Said Jennifer. What? Asked Daniel and Ethan together. That my accident wasn't just a tragedy, it was also what led me to you two. And you gave me the strength to turn pain into justice. Dad always says bad things can turn into good things, said Ethan. Your father is very wise. You're wise too, Mom Jennifer. 2 years passed. The Carter Morrison family was settled and happy. Ethan, now 11, had developed a passion for astronomy and social justice. He wanted to be a space judge when he grew up. Jennifer had been promoted to appellate judge in recognition not only of her technical competence, but for the courage she showed in the reopened case. She became a reference in disability rights and inclusive justice. Daniel opened his own rehabilitation clinic, specializing in humanized care for people with recent disabilities. Many of his patients were referred by Jennifer, people who needed to understand that a physical limitation didn't mean a life limitation. One Saturday afternoon, they were at the park where they used to go when they first got to know each other better. Ethan was playing with a telescope he got for his birthday, watching clouds and making theories about what he saw. Daniel, said Jennifer, can I tell you a secret? Of course. Sometimes I still can't believe all of this is real, that I have you two, that I'm happy. Why? For 3 years I thought happiness was something I had lost forever in the accident. Daniel held her hand. You know what Ethan told me the other day? What? That you didn't lose anything in the accident. That you only discovered new things about yourself. How so? He said that before you were just a judge. Now you're a judge, a wife, a mother, and a hero. That your wheelchair is like a superhero's cape, a symbol of power, not weakness. Jennifer felt tears in her eyes. Ethan said that? He sees you as we see you, complete, powerful, necessary. Ethan ran up to them excited. Mom, Jennifer, Dad, I discovered something amazing. What is it? Did you know there are stars that explode and then become brighter than before? They're called supernovas. That's interesting, Ethan. It's just like you, Mother Jennifer. You exploded in the accident, but then you became brighter. Jennifer hugged the boy, amazed by his childlike wisdom. Thank you, my love. Why? For teaching me that sometimes we need to break to discover how to shine. When they returned home that afternoon, Jennifer felt completely at peace for the first time in years. There were no more doubts, fears, or regrets. Only gratitude for the journey that had brought her there. During dinner, Ethan made an announcement. I have important news. Daniel and Jennifer exchanged amused looks. What's the news? Asked Daniel. I've decided that when I grow up, I'm going to be a judge who specializes in special people, like Mother Jennifer does. That's beautiful, Ethan, said Jennifer, but all people are special in some way. I know. That's why I'm going to help everyone discover how. That night, after Ethan went to sleep, Daniel and Jennifer stayed on the porch talking about the future. They planned a trip for Ethan to visit an astronomical observatory, thought about adopting another child, dreamed about the projects they could develop together. Do you regret anything? Asked Daniel. The accident? Anything? Jennifer thought carefully. No, not even the accident, because it brought me to you, and you brought me back to life. You brought us to life too. Ethan and I were just survivors before you appeared. And now? Now we're a complete family. That night, Jennifer dreamed of the day she tried to climb the courthouse steps. In the dream, she managed it alone. But when she reached the top, it was empty. There was no Daniel, no Ethan, no love. She woke up smiling, grateful that she had needed help that day, because that help had brought her into the arms of the family she had always wanted, but never knew she needed. 3 years after the wedding, on a fall morning, Jennifer woke up to Ethan gently shaking her shoulder. Mother Jennifer, he whispered, there's a surprise for you in the kitchen. What kind of surprise? It's about our family. Jennifer got up, curious. In the kitchen she found Daniel preparing a special breakfast with the table set with flowers and candles. "What's going on?" "Ethan has something to tell you," said Daniel, smiling mysteriously. Ethan approached, holding an official paper. "Mother Jennifer, Daddy explained to me how legal adoption works, and I want you to be my real mother on paper too." Jennifer took the document. It was an adoption petition where Ethan was formally asking for her to become his legal mother. "Ethan, are you sure?" "I am. You've been taking care of me for 3 years. You teach me important things. You love me even when I have meltdowns. You're my real mother." "But you already had a mother." "I know. Daddy told me all about Mother Rachel. She gave me life. But you gave me a family again. I can have 2 mothers, one in my heart and one here with me." Jennifer hugged Ethan, crying with emotion. "It would be the greatest honor of my life to be your official mother." The adoption process was simple, given that Jennifer had already been the legal stepmother for years, and Ethan clearly desired the change. 3 months later, on a sunny December day, the adoption was finalized. Ethan Carter was now officially Ethan Carter Morrison. Jennifer was his legal mother, with all the rights and responsibilities that entailed. At the home celebration, Ethan made another one of his important announcements. "Now that Mother Jennifer is my real mother, I can tell a secret." "What secret?" asked his parents. "I always knew she would be my mother from the first day at the courthouse. I was just waiting for you to figure it out." Daniel and Jennifer laughed, amazed by the boy's insight. "What do you mean, Ethan?" "Because when she listened to me that day, I felt like someone finally truly understood me. And mothers are people who understand us, right?" "You are very wise, my son," said Jennifer, savoring the words, "my son," for the first time officially. In the years that followed, the Carter Morrison family became known in the city for their work in inclusion and rights. Jennifer chaired a municipal accessibility board. Daniel gave talks on parenting and special needs children. Ethan, now a teenager, gave presentations at schools about autism and acceptance. Their home became a gathering place for other families facing similar challenges. Weekends were filled with barbecues, where special needs children played freely, while parents exchanged experiences and support. Jennifer transformed her personal experience into professional activism. She helped pass local accessibility laws, created training programs for public employees, and established protocols for the respectful treatment of people with disabilities in the judicial system. Her marriage to Daniel deepened over the years. They learned to navigate together the challenges of raising Ethan, of dealing with their own insecurities, of building a life that was fulfilling for everyone. Ethan flourished in ways that constantly surprised his parents. His exceptional intelligence manifested not only in sciences, but in emotional understanding. He became a natural bridge between different worlds, helping other autistic children integrate, teaching neurotypical people about patience and acceptance. On a winter night, 5 years after the adoption, the family was gathered in the living room, watching a documentary about space, when Ethan made a profound observation. "Did you know that without Mom Jennifer's accident, I would probably be a sad child?" "Why do you say that, son?" asked Daniel. "Because if Mom Jennifer hadn't gone through difficulties, she wouldn't know how to help people who go through difficulties. And Dad was sad raising me alone, even trying to hide it from me." Jennifer and Daniel looked at each other, impressed by the teenager's analytical ability. "Do you think suffering can be good?" asked Jennifer. "I think suffering is only bad when it doesn't lead to anything good, but when it leads to family, to love, to helping other people, then it wasn't just suffering, it was transformation." "Where do you get these ideas, Ethan?" "From watching you two. Dad told me that Rachel, my first mother, always talked about transforming pain into love. You do that every day." That night, after Ethan went to sleep, Jennifer and Daniel talked about how the boy had changed their perspectives on their own losses. "He's right," said Jennifer. "My accident wasn't just a tragedy, it was a redirection. And losing Rachel wasn't just pain, it was what prepared me to value you properly," added Daniel. "Ethan taught us to transform our broken pieces into wholeness, and we taught him that being different is being special." They went to bed that night feeling they had created something bigger than a family. They had created an example that true love knows no limitations, that family is built with choice and dedication, not just with blood or physical perfection. On Ethan's 10th anniversary, now 18 and preparing for law school, he asked for a different party. "I want to invite all the families you've helped over these years," he said. "That's a lot of people, Ethan. I know. I want them to see how our strange and special family worked out, to give hope to other strange and special families." The party was held in the park where they used to meet in the first months of dating. More than 50 families showed up. Children with various disabilities played together. Single parents shared parenting strategies. Couples who had met through Jennifer and Daniel's social work celebrated their own successes. During the party, Ethan asked to speak. "I want to thank everyone for coming to celebrate my crazy family," he began, making everyone laugh. 18 years ago, when I was born, Dad was alone with me. 8 years ago, Mom Jennifer was trying to climb a staircase alone. We were all broken in some way. But we discovered that broken people can come together and make something stronger than whole people alone. Our family is proof that there is no normal, only love that works. So thank you, Mom Jennifer, for teaching us that physical limitations don't limit the heart. Thank you, Dad, for teaching me that being different is being special. And thank you all for proving that our family isn't an exception, it's an example. Everyone applauded. Jennifer was crying, but they were tears of absolute pride. Later, when the party was over and they were cleaning up, Ethan approached Jennifer. "Mom, can I ask you a serious question?" "Of course, son." "Do you think I'm ready to go to college and help other people like you helped me?" "More than ready. You're going to change the world, Ethan. We'll change it together. After all, we're family." Jennifer looked around the park where her new life had truly begun, where she met the love of her life and gained the son she always wanted. The party decorations still swayed in the trees, children still played with their parents, couples still talked about hope and possibilities. She had begun this journey trying to climb a staircase alone. Now she was surrounded by a family that loved her exactly as she was, by a community they had helped build, by a future full of possibilities she had never imagined. The accident that destroyed her old life had built a new, much better one. The help she tried to refuse on the staircase brought the love that transformed everything. Ethan was right, there was no normal, only love that worked, and theirs worked perfectly. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now, continuing. 2 years had passed since the memorable party in the park. Ethan was in his 3rd semester of law school, specializing in disability and family rights. His grades were exceptional, but more importantly, he had found his calling by helping university colleagues facing different kinds of challenges. Jennifer had been appointed to the State Court of Justice, becoming the first wheelchair-using appellate judge in the state's history. Her inauguration speech moved many people when she said, "True justice is only possible when those who judge understand all forms of human vulnerability." Daniel expanded his rehabilitation clinic, creating an innovative program that combined physical therapy with family psychological support. The Carter Morrison method, as it became known, was being replicated in other cities. On a Thursday in March, Jennifer received an unexpected call in her chambers. "Judge Jennifer, my name is Sarah Anderson. I'm a social worker, and I have a case I'd like to discuss with you." "What kind of case?" "A 12-year-old girl, wheelchair-bound for 2 years after an accident. The parents are divorcing and neither wants to keep her. They claim they don't have the means to care for a child with a disability." Jennifer felt a familiar pain in her chest. She knew well the abandonment people with disabilities suffered, even from their own families. "What can I do to help?" "I know you can't intervene directly, but I thought you might know a family interested in adoption. The girl is very smart, sweet, but she's losing hope." Jennifer immediately thought of Ethan. At 20, he was mature enough to understand the responsibility and had always expressed interest in having a sister. Daniel had also mentioned several times that the house felt too big for just 3 people. "May I speak with my family and get back to you?" "That would be wonderful. The girl's name is Emma. She's been at the municipal shelter for 3 months." That night, during dinner, Jennifer told Daniel and Ethan about Emma. "A 12-year-old girl abandoned by her parents because of her disability," she explained. It reminded me of the two of you taking me in when I felt rejected by the world. Ethan stopped eating and looked at his parents seriously. Do you want to adopt her? We want to know what you think, said Daniel. She would be your sister. It would change our family dynamic. Ethan thought for a few minutes, a habit he'd kept since childhood when facing important decisions. You know what I've learned from you two? That family isn't about convenience. It's about giving love to those who need it and receiving love from those who offer it. And do you think Emma would fit into our crazy family? Asked Jennifer, smiling. I think our crazy family is exactly what Emma needs, and maybe she's what we need too. Why do you say that? Because you two have taught me so much about being special that maybe it's time to teach someone else. And I've always wanted a sister to protect. Daniel and Jennifer exchanged a look. Ethan's maturity never ceased to surprise them. So, is it decided? Asked Jennifer. It's decided, confirmed Daniel and Ethan in unison. The following Saturday, they went to meet Emma at the shelter. She was a small girl for 12, with curly brown hair and eyes that mixed intelligence with a deep sadness. She was in a colorful wheelchair, reading a thick book about archaeology. Emma, called the social worker. This is the Carter Morrison family I told you about. Emma looked up from her book and studied them carefully. First Jennifer in the wheelchair, then Daniel and Ethan standing. Are you the famous ones? She asked directly. Famous? Daniel smiled. The girls here talk about you, that the lady is a judge and uses a wheelchair like me, that the man helps people walk again, and that the young man is adopted and has autism, but is going to be a lawyer. Ethan stepped forward and crouched down to Emma's level. That's all true. But the most important thing is that we're a family who understands that being different isn't a problem. And why do you want to adopt me? Emma asked with suspicion. My parents said taking care of a defective child is too hard. Jennifer felt anger at the word defective, but kept her voice calm. First, you are not defective. You are Emma, an intelligent girl who likes archaeology. Second, we want to adopt you because our family gets better when there are more people to love. And if I do things wrong, if I get in the way? Emma, said Daniel gently, everyone does things wrong sometimes. Everyone gets in the way sometimes. Real family doesn't give up because of that. Emma stared at Ethan. And you? Do you want a defective sister? I want a sister who can teach me about archaeology and who I can teach about law. And please, stop using that ugly word. You are special, like me. Emma was silent for a few minutes. Then she closed the book and looked at Jennifer. Can I ask a question about your wheelchair? Of course. Does it hurt? The chair doesn't hurt. Sometimes it hurts to know that some people see me only as the chair, not as the Jennifer who's in it. I know. Sometimes people talk to me like I'm deaf just because my legs don't work. Exactly. That's why our family works. We see each other completely, not just the parts that are different. Emma nodded thoughtfully. Can I visit your house before I decide? Of course, said Jennifer. In fact, we insisted on it. You need to be sure you want to be part of our crazy family. Why do you call yourselves a crazy family? Ethan laughed. Because we have a widowed father, a wheelchair-using adoptive mother, an autistic son, and now maybe a wheelchair-using archaeologist daughter. If that's not crazy, I don't know what is. Emma smiled for the first time since they arrived. Sounds interesting. The home visit was scheduled for the following weekend. Jennifer, Daniel, and Ethan spent the whole week preparing. Ethan researched archaeology to talk with Emma. Daniel adapted some furniture to make access easier. Jennifer prepared a room that could become Emma's if she decided to stay. On Saturday, Emma arrived accompanied by the social worker. She examined the house methodically, tested the ramps, asked about routines, observed how the family interacted. During lunch, she asked direct questions. Ethan, was it hard being adopted? At first, yes. I was afraid Jennifer wouldn't love me for real, that it was just pity. And was it pity? It was love. But it took me a while to understand the difference. How did you discover the difference? When I realized she'd get mad at me when I did something wrong. Someone who pities you doesn't get mad. They just console. Someone who loves you gets mad to teach you to do better. Emma nodded, absorbing the information. Jennifer, she said, using the name for the first time, why did you want to adopt Ethan? Because he taught me I could be a mother even in a wheelchair. He gave me a new purpose in life. And why do you want to adopt me? Because you're amazing and deserve a family who sees that, and because our house needs someone who understands archaeology. Emma smiled. Can I ask you all something? Of course, said the three of them. If I live here, can I keep being Emma? I won't have to pretend I'm happy all the time, or that I don't feel angry sometimes. Jennifer held her hand. Emma, you can be exactly who you are. Happy, sad, angry, frustrated, excited. All emotions are valid here. Even when I have nightmares about the accident, especially when you have nightmares. Ethan and I have nightmares sometimes. Daniel helps us and we help each other. And what if I can't love you right away? Love takes time to grow, said Daniel. What's important is wanting to try. Emma looked around the table at the three faces watching her with patience and affection. I can try, she said finally. Emma's adoption process took 4 months. During that time, she made regular visits to the house, spent weekends with the family, gradually getting used to the new reality. Ethan was key in the adaptation process. He deeply understood how scary it was to trust a new family and patiently helped Emma navigate those emotional waters. You know something strange? Emma said to Ethan one afternoon while they did homework together. What? Sometimes I forget you're not my blood family. It feels like I've always belonged here. That's because you do belong. Heart family is stronger than blood family. How do you know? Because my first mother gave me life, but Jennifer gave me a family, and now you make our family more complete. Emma smiled. Thank you for accepting me as a sister. Thank you for accepting me as a crazy brother. When the adoption was finalized, the family had a small celebration at home. Emma was now officially Emma Carter Morrison, sister to Ethan, daughter to Jennifer and Daniel. During the party, Emma gave a speech that moved everyone. 4 months ago, I thought my life was over, that because of the wheelchair, no one would ever want me again. My own parents gave up on me. But you showed me that a real family isn't about perfection. It's about accepting each other completely, including the broken parts. Ethan taught me that being different means being special. Daniel taught me that strength doesn't come from muscles, it comes from the heart. Jennifer taught me that physical limitations don't limit the love we can give and receive. So thank you for saving me, and for letting me help save you too. Jennifer dried her tears. What do you mean you saved us, Emma? Because now you have someone to teach about archaeology, she said with a mischievous smile. And Ethan has a little sister to protect, and you two have a youngest daughter to spoil. The family laughed together. Jennifer looked around the table and saw faces full of love, hope, and belonging. Her crazy family had grown once again. That night, when Emma was sleeping in her new room, Jennifer and Daniel talked about how their lives had changed. You know what's funny? Said Jennifer. What? 10 years ago I was trying to climb a staircase by myself. Today I have a whole family that helps me with anything, and I help them too. And Emma? Emma is going to teach us things we can't even imagine yet. She's special in a different way than Ethan. How so? Ethan is sensitive and observant. Emma is determined and questioning. She'll keep us on our toes. Do you think we made the right choice? I'm sure. Our family was ready to grow, and Emma was ready to have a family. 2 years passed with Emma as a member of the Carter Morrison family. The girl flourished in ways that surprised everyone. Her grades at school improved drastically. She participated in general knowledge competitions, and she had made solid friendships. More importantly, Emma developed her own strong personality within the family dynamic. She was more direct than Ethan, more questioning, more willing to challenge rules she considered unfair. Mom Jennifer, she said one afternoon, can I go to work with you tomorrow? May I ask why? I want to see how you do justice. Ethan always says he wants to be a lawyer like you, but I want to understand how it really works. Of course you can come, but remember it's a formal environment. The next day, Emma accompanied Jennifer to court. She observed hearings, asked smart questions about procedures, and demonstrated an impressive understanding of legal nuances. During the lunch break, Jennifer asked, "What did you think?" "I think justice is very complicated. Sometimes what's legal doesn't seem fair." "How so?" "Like, it's legal for my parents to abandon me because I'm in a wheelchair, but it's not fair." Jennifer stopped eating and looked at Emma attentively. "Do you still think about your biological parents?" "Sometimes. Not with longing, but with anger, and with sadness for the children who are still suffering what I suffered. Do you want to talk about it?" "Actually, I want to do something about it." "Like what?" "I want to create a project at school about the rights of children with disabilities, to show that we're normal, we just need some adaptations." Jennifer smiled proudly. "That's a wonderful idea, Emma. Will you help me?" "Of course, Ethan can help too." Emma's project became a powerful presentation she gave to the whole school. With the help of Jennifer and Ethan, she created a presentation about myths and truths about disability, showing how children with physical limitations can have full and productive lives. The presentation was so impactful that she was invited to repeat it at other schools. Emma, at 14, was becoming an activist in her own right. One day, after one of her presentations, Emma came home excited. "Family," she announced during dinner, "I have a proposal." "We're listening," said Daniel. "I want us to create a foundation to help children with disabilities who were abandoned or rejected by their families." Ethan stopped eating. "Emma, that's an amazing idea." "It would be like a mentorship program," she continued. "Jennifer and I can help children in wheelchairs. Ethan can help autistic children. Daniel can help with rehabilitation. And families who want to adopt but are afraid," added Jennifer. "We can show it's possible." "Exactly. We can be an example that different families work." Daniel and Jennifer exchanged a look. Once again, their children surprised them with maturity and vision. "It would be a big project," said Daniel. "We would need planning, resources, legal structure." "But it would be transformative," said Jennifer. "How many children like Ethan and Emma are out there needing families who will accept them? And how many families are afraid to adopt special needs children because they don't know how?" added Ethan. "So let's do it," said Emma, clapping her hands. And so the Carter Morrison Foundation was born, an organization dedicated to connecting children with disabilities to families who could love them completely. Jennifer used her influence in the judiciary to expedite processes. Daniel offered free rehabilitation services. Ethan, still a student, helped with legal matters. Emma became the public face of the organization, telling her own story to inspire others. The foundation's first fundraising event was held in the same park where Jennifer and Daniel got to know each other better. Hundreds of people showed up, including many families they had helped over the years. During the event, a reporter interviewed the family. "How would you define your family journey?" she asked. Jennifer answered first. "It started with a staircase I couldn't climb alone. Daniel carried me to the top, but really we've all been carrying each other ever since. It's an unconventional family," commented the reporter. "Conventional is overrated," said Ethan. "We are proof that love doesn't need to be conventional to be real." "Emma," asked the reporter, "what would you say to children going through what you went through?" Emma thought carefully before answering. "That being rejected by your birth parents hurts, but it doesn't define who you are. That your true family is waiting for you somewhere, and that your differences aren't flaws, they're superpowers waiting to be discovered. And for families who are afraid to adopt special needs children, that love is stronger than fear. That special needs children teach as much as they learn, and that our family is proof that different kinds of people can create something beautiful together." The interview aired on local TV and went viral on social media. The foundation received hundreds of contacts from families interested in adoption and from children needing support. 6 months later, the foundation had facilitated 12 successful adoptions and was offering ongoing support to 20 families. On a winter night, the Carter Morrison family was gathered in the living room, each doing their own activities. Jennifer was reading case files, Daniel was studying new rehabilitation treatments, Ethan was writing an article about autistic rights, Emma was researching archaeology for a school project. "You know what I'm thinking?" Emma said suddenly. "What?" asked the other three. that we're like a puzzle. Each of us was a missing piece, but when we came together, we formed a complete and beautiful picture. Ethan looked up from his computer. That's a very good metaphor, Emma. It's more than a metaphor, said Daniel. It's true. Each of us was incomplete in some way. And now? Asked Jennifer. Now we're a crazy masterpiece, said Emma, making everyone laugh. Jennifer looked at her family and felt a deep gratitude. 10 years ago, she was alone in a wheelchair, trying to climb a staircase, determined not to need anyone. Today she was surrounded by 3 people who loved her unconditionally, by a foundation that was changing lives, by a purpose that went far beyond her own needs. Daniel was right years ago when he said different isn't bad, it's just different. Their family was living proof that different could be extraordinary. Can I say something serious? Said Jennifer. Of course, everyone replied. 10 years ago, when I tried to climb those stairs alone, I thought needing help was a sign of weakness. Today I know that accepting help was the first step on the best journey of my life. And offering help changed my life too, said Daniel. If I hadn't helped you that day, I never would have discovered I could love again. And if you two hadn't met, Emma and I would still be lost, added Ethan. Or maybe we would have found each other another way, said Emma philosophically. Maybe true family always finds a way to come together. Do you really believe that? Asked Jennifer. I do, because you 3 were complete before you knew me, but you had an empty space that was exactly my size. And I had an empty space that was exactly the size of you 3. Daniel stood up and hugged Emma. You are very wise for 14. I learned from the best, she replied, hugging him back. Ethan joined the hug, followed by Jennifer. The 4 of them held each other for several minutes, each thinking about the journey that had brought them there. You know what I want to do next weekend? Said Ethan. What? Asked the others. I want to go back to that staircase at the Forum. I want Emma to see where it all began. Why? Asked Emma. Because that's where Dad carried Mom Jennifer for the first time. That's where our family began to exist. It's a family pilgrimage, said Jennifer, smiling. Exactly. And I want to show Emma that sometimes the best beginnings come from the hardest moments. The following Saturday, they went to the Forum. The staircase was exactly as Jennifer remembered, imposing and challenging. But now there was a ramp beside it, one of the changes she had helped implement during her years as an activist. So this is where it all began? Asked Emma, looking at the 20 marble steps. This is it, confirmed Jennifer. I was trying to climb alone and couldn't. And Dad carried you? He did. I was furious and embarrassed. Why? Because I thought needing help made me weak. Emma climbed halfway up the staircase with her wheelchair, then came back down. I can climb a few steps, but not all of them, she said. I don't feel weak because of it. That's good, said Jennifer. It took me 3 years to learn what you already know. Ethan sat on one of the steps. You know what's funny? If Mom Jennifer had managed to climb alone that day, maybe we would never have existed as a family. It's true, said Daniel. Sometimes our weakest points become our strongest points. How so? Asked Emma. Jennifer explained. My inability to climb the stairs brought me to Daniel. Daniel's need to help brought us together. Our love brought us Ethan. Our experience as a special family prepared us for you. And now, all together, we created the foundation. So, my abandonment by my birth parents was important too? Asked Emma. Painfully important, said Jennifer. Without it, you never would have come to us. And without you, our family wouldn't be complete, added Ethan. Emma nodded thoughtfully. It's strange to be thankful for bad things that happen to us. We're not thankful for the bad things, said Daniel. We're thankful for what we learned from them and where they led us. Like an emotional staircase, asked Emma. Are the bad things the difficult steps, but do they lead to high and beautiful places? Exactly, said Jennifer. You understood perfectly. They spent another hour on the staircase telling stories, laughing over memories, planning the future. When they finally left, Emma asked to take a picture of the whole family on the staircase. Why? Asked Ethan. To remember that we started here, but we don't stop here. We evolved into something beautiful. That night at home, Emma pasted the photo in a frame and wrote underneath, The Carter Morrison family, Started with an impossible staircase, ends with infinite love. Emma, said Jennifer, seeing the frame, you don't think it ends. I think it just continues. What do you mean? Our story has no end. It keeps growing, changing, evolving. The foundation is just the next chapter. And what other chapters will come? We don't know, said Daniel. But we know we'll be together to find out. Ethan approached the frame. You know what else I want to write here? What? Asked Emma. Proof that true love has no limitations. Perfect, said Jennifer. That's exactly what we are. And they truly were. The Carter Morrison family had become much more than 4 people who met by chance. They were a living example that family is built by choice, not by circumstance. That love is strengthened by challenges, not broken by them. That differences add up. They don't subtract. Jennifer looked out the window at the street where so many other families lived their own stories. Some faced challenges similar to theirs, others faced completely different problems. But they all had something in common, the universal need for love, acceptance, and belonging. The foundation they had created was just beginning. There would be much work ahead, many children to help, many families to guide. But Jennifer knew they were ready for any challenge. After all, they were a family that started with a woman who couldn't climb a staircase alone and transformed into 4 people capable of moving mountains together. And that was just the beginning. End of story. What did you think of this emotional story about love, family, and overcoming? Leave in the comments which part touched you the most, and if you know special families like the Carter Morrisons. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more heartwarming stories. See you next time.